This summer, some of the top British show jumpers have been battling it out up and down the country as part of the International Stairway series. And now as we head towards the end of the series and with the finale in sight, the competition is hotting up. So over the past few months, the series has visited almost every corner of the UK at some of the most best-known and popular county shows. Oxfordshire Show replaces the washed-out Devon County, which was abandoned in May. So now we're at round 7 of 9, and we've come down to the New Forest in Hampshire. Graham Lovegrove has been super consistent. He won at Suffolk and is the leader on 26 points. But it is tight at the top. Tim Davis just 5 points behind on 21 after his win at South of England. So Nigel Cowp and Tim Page are tied on 16 points. Tim shooting up the leaderboard after his win in Scotland. And finally, Louise Saywell and Mr. Darcy. A win at Royal Norfolk puts them on 15 points. So our series leader, Graham Lovegrove, is here at the New Forest. But Graham, what are you doing? You're not in riding clothes.
Yeah, I was really disappointed not to be riding here today, but Alfie had a touch of colic at the weekend and couldn't bring him really.
Because you have been so consistent over the series. You've picked up that one win, but you've had some good placings as well. It must be difficult to be sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah, it is difficult. I mean, I think some of them I should have done a bit better than I did really. I could have been further ahead on the table. I think I should have been. But obviously I'm here today supporting my partner Louise, and hopefully she can get close to me.
You say that with slightly gritted teeth, because if she wins today, she's going to leapfrog you in the series.
I just hope she does, you know. I'm here supporting her, and Darcy's half mine anyway, so I hope she can have a good day today.
So Louise, tell me firstly about Mr. Darcy. How's he been?
Mr. Darcy's been on great form. Last week we were at Arena UK for the Grand Prix, which he won, so we have big hopes today.
And you're looking to become, the first rider to win 2 Stairway series in this summer, because no one's done it yet.
Yeah, well, that would be really nice. Like I say, he's on great form, so I don't see why we shouldn't be able to do it.
Well, not just Louise then that could knock Graham off the top of the leaderboard. Nigel Cowp and Golvers Hill, the current national champions, they could go top with a win. They're on 16 points. That's just 1 point ahead of Louise Saywell and Mr. Darcy. Nigel, you were second in the whole series last year, so a win is definitely due.
Yeah, I've missed the last 3, Bowlesworth, Great Yorkshire and Royal Norfolk, because I concentrated on the Hickstead Derby, and we did really well there. We were 7th, so that was profitable for us, and I'm glad I did that. But now we're back on the stairway, and we've got I think 3 more left to go. So a good result here today, and I'm back up there, and hopefully we'll get that today.
Well, we shall see. A magnificent day here at the New Forest Show. As we can see, the sun is out, a beautifully prepared arena, and everybody's out enjoying not just the sport, but lots going on in the adjacent arena as well. Lots of entertainment here down in Hampshire. Big crowds watching the sport, which is great to see. Now, can the protagonists of Nigel Cowp and Golvers Hill deliver once again? No clear so far in this first round, and this combination, well, Nigel said to me before, this horse is a clear machine, just keeps jumping those clear. So this would be the one we're looking to now really deliver. Remember, top 5 going through, so we could look well to have those going through on faults. National champion, as we've heard, lots of problems that have been caused on the course. Lots going on around the arena as well. Just got to keep the horse's concentration all the way through. And a big test as well, some very big fences in here, built well up to height by course designer Steve Williams. And the distances play their part as well. Time has been quite close, so they've had to keep the pace up all the time. So again, can just lead to 1 or 2 little mistakes, but that's part of the test. This big combination going back towards the bottom corner, just has that last part, just coming slightly on the angle there, and just trips it off. So, not going to be a clear for Nigel as well, but 4 faults leaves them in a very good position at the moment. Got to stay on that. Over the water. Now this final set of fences that's caused problems too. They've finished just on the 4, which is good for Nigel. Leaves them in a good position, but it isn't clear. But it looks like they're through to the second round, 75.83, a good time as well. So Nigel still very much in the hunt as we take a look at the table. Best score so far from them. Julie Andrews close on a score of 5. A group of 8s in there. The poles are falling all over for each of these riders competing here today. It's a big test, but down in the warm-up, is Ali.
Well, in the collecting ring, I'm joined by Sian Edwards. Sian, you've competed for Great Britain and many Nations Cup teams, so you're pretty well judged to give us your opinion on this course. What do you think generally? How do you see it going?
As stairways go, yeah, it's up to height. It's a difficult course. At least it starts nicely. As you can see, Kimberly's jumping now. She's jumped the first 3 fences, which are quite nice and just get you into a nice rhythm. She's just had number 4 down, which is on a difficult distance down to the bottom end of the ring to a big double, and then you turn the corner to an even bigger oxer, just about then to come up a really difficult line. There's a tall vertical up the line on a distance to a big 150 at oxer, then to a nice vertical. You then have to turn inside number 2 because the time is quite tight to what looks a big imposing combination.
I mean, she's going round there. I mean, I suppose as she's had a couple down, she's not so worried about the time. It's more about experience.
Yeah, I think she'd be giving this horse quite a lot of experience. She's done really well in young riders. She had a really good show at Kent County the other day. It's obviously just not her day, so she's just trying to get round and give the horse a bit more confidence.
It is an imposing arena. What is it then? Is it just jumping into the crowds, the colours of the fences? It's sort of putting the horses off a bit.
I think Kimberly's probably a young rider. It's her first year jumping at county shows, so it's different for her. And a lot of these horses are not used to jumping at county shows. They're used to jumping at a lot of surface arenas these days. I think they're just out of their comfort zone, basically.
Well, look, thanks very much, Sian. Back to you, Steve.
Thank you very much, Ali. Well, we're taking a look at Julie Andrews. Second ride for her. This is Ayrton the 4th. Julie, we've not seen in the series too much this year, but with 2 rides here at the New Forest, she's actually the National Ladies Champion and makes the long trip down from Preston in Lancashire to be here. Now, Sian was telling us about some of the problems on this course. Certainly been a tough one. As you say, full up to height, looking at around about 1.50 metres for some of these fences. Big challenge. Julie nicely through there, and as Sian said, there's a big fence coming off the corner. Nicely done again by Julie, keeping up the pace all the time. As Sian said, it's quite tight on the time allowed. Some coming inside that fence too, coming up there. They've got a curving line here, which means they can give themselves space to get to it if they want to, can maybe add a stride. And you see Julie just cuts inside. We saw Kimberly go on the outside there. Just saves herself a bit of time, but it means this comes up quite quickly coming into this combination. Again, well done. And down to the bottom and right near the crowd as well. Just got to keep the horse's concentration. And then she's keeping up the pace all the time. Remember, the placing we're looking for in round 2, all based on a good time too. So just has a little hole coming over the water, and unfortunately has the first part coming over the water. They open up over that, and you've got to move your horse right back using every element here. She's just trying to get the horse back to sit off this one, and just brushes it in front. But with the 1 fence down, still leaves them in definitely into the second round. 3 more to come. Mark Edwards now and Tinker's Tail. He's been having a very good run of form as well, across from Cowbridge in Wales. And a horse that's come out of the breeding of his father's former international ride. And like you see, goes a little bit wider across to that vertical. But again, as Sian said, it's a difficult line here. They want to give themselves room to get into this double. 1 or 2 just getting a little bit further in there, getting caught. It means they have the back bar. What's described as deep means they're a long way in, just means they haven't got any room to come out of it. It's a fairly naturally quick combination, so Mark will keep moving without too much trouble. Time shouldn't be a big problem for these. Now again, you see eyes up there, isn't even thinking about coming wide. Tucks inside fence 2. It's a big ring here at the New Forest. Room to get to everything, but also means you can lose a bit of time around it as well, very, very easily. Now just got to hold together. Remember, we've seen no clears so far. This is one still with a chance. 1 more. Very nicely done by Mark Edwards. And gives us the first, the clear round, 77.19. So he's assured of his place, regardless of in round 2. And he'll be in the final 2 as well. So good round from Mark into round 2. And Ali's down with him in the warm-up.
Mark, talk me through your round. Very good clear jumping there.
Yeah, we're first clear, and well, only youngster, so we went in there not quite knowing what he would do at this level, but he jumped really, really well. And well, yeah, we didn't rush too much, so we had a little bit of slow time, and we just managed to get inside the time allowed, which was 78 seconds. but he jumped really well. You know, jumped through the combination, which is causing a lot of trouble, and he just made that really, really easy, and yeah, it was really good.
Well, the course is causing its fair amount of trouble. We've just had one clear, courtesy of Mark Edwards so far. So it's looking good for Nigel Cout with that 4 faults. Just a reminder that 5 horses, a minimum of 5, will go through to the jump-off. Stay with us. Well, welcome back to the New Forest and Hampshire County Show. And so far, just one clear round. Will Louise Saywell and Mr. Darcy be the next?
We wait and see, and plenty waiting to see alongside the ring here at the New Forest. Into action they go, Louise Saywell and Mr. Darcy. She's already had one ride around here, so it gives her a very good idea of the rounds we've seen before. Of course, we've seen that one clear round from Mark Edwards. And well, she's got a good idea seeing what the rest have done too. Great experience combination, as we know, already winners this year. Louise, with that little bit of extra international experience too, used to those classes where the time is a little bit tighter too, knows how to ride those corners. You see she comes a little bit tighter there, nicely into that big vertical, has all the confidence in the horse that she can jump it. Now again keeps moving up to this vertical, tucks inside very nicely there, nicely nipping just inside, very accurately done, and makes very little of that. That's easily enough for Louise. Right down the bottom corner. Now she just needs to keep moving on. She's kept some nice tight turns in there, so the time shouldn't be a problem. Still not done until this last double though. And that's a very good round indeed. Just skips behind. Lovely round from Louise Saywell and Mr. Darcy the 5th. Looks absolutely class, that one, and very much destined for the top level. Jumps clear gives us the 2nd clear. Louise Saywell is going to be certainly in there alongside Mark Edwards, as both of those in with a 0 score. And as we can see, greeted by Graham Lovegrove. Just having the debrief. Cleanly over the fence, over the water, no trouble at all.
Graham, you must be pretty delighted by that. Was pretty class.
Yeah, I'm chuffed for Louise and Darcy there. He's been on really good form recently as well. He won a good class at Arena UK last week. You know, and the partnership between them has really grown and grown now. I think he jumped it super. Difficult track, you know, people are struggling, but he always jumped it great. I'm over the moon, really pleased.
How are the nerves then? Shaking much?
Yeah, it's worse than riding actually. When you're riding, I don't feel the nerves, but watching there, it's nerve-wracking.
You could see you were almost riding every fence though in the warm-up arena.
Oh, was I?
You didn't realise you were doing it?
Not really. No, I'm just too busy concentrating on what she's doing in the ring.
Tina Fletcher there watching on. Their family's horse about to compete with Alfie Bradstock. Tina herself, who's been a leading light in this series many times. Winner on the British team too, but now on the sidelines watching as rider Alfie Bradstock rides her husband's horse, Graham's Kaikos. Alfie himself, who's very much an up-and-coming jockey in terms of he's been a top man in racing. Now turning his hand to show jumping. He's also been a very successful eventer as well, part of teams in eventing, but now based with the Fletchers in Oxfordshire. Bringing on a number of their horses, of course. Tina herself still competing in the top flight with the likes of Hello Sailor. Graham himself was a top international rider too for many, many years. Great supporters of the County Show circuit. Now Alfie just sits back here waiting for that vertical to come. It's a man very much bred in equestrian purple. Family have been in horses both in racing and jumping for a long time. Just drops that first part. Barely touched it behind. Now just this final line. Just looks as though they maybe need to get a little bit of a move on. And it could make the difference between being in or out. Just holds there. Is it going to make a difference on the clock? It's going to be tight. Crosses the line. Does pick up the one time fault, 78.51. Time allowed is 78, so just over that. Means they finish on a score of 5, but do scrape through to round 2. 2 of them on 4 faults by 2 clears, Mark Edwards and Louise Saywell.
So we're into the jump off. The fences have gone up. We have a new fence in today's course, and we have our 5 confirmed riders. But it is all between Mark Edwards riding his young horse, the 8-year-old that they bred at home, up against Louise Saywell, who's looking for her second International Stairway competition. It's a head-to-head between those two, and they will of course be jumping last in this jump off.
How will it play out? The rest of them starting with faults. They'll carry those through. Alfie Bradstock starts us off with Kaikos. Starts on a score of 5. The rest really have to say playing for the placings. On the curving line down to this vertical. And Alfie especially looking really for a clear here. Then they've got to sit back and wait and see what the rest do to where their final placing fits. Down into 2 parts of what was the combination. Last part now taken away. And then right down to the bottom end, Steve Williams, that comes down. Just runs into that. Now they turn back sharply to this just on the angle, and I'm afraid doesn't quite pay off. And then it is down to what was the first fence to finish, 44.24. So has 8 more to add. Takes them up to 13 in all for Alfie. You can see he shakes his own head. Just trying to quicken up down that bottom end, and it doesn't quite pay. Comes here on the angle, and just that's where it comes, pushes that away. Just doesn't quite find the height. Right, now Nigel Kalp, Golvers Hill, starting off on the 4, and usually for them, it's had very few poles all year. Now I wouldn't be surprised to see this combination put in a clear again. And then they've got to wait. Again, as we've seen, up there in the table, vying for points. This could be a crucial one in the overall series. Now they've got to get this turn right. Turning back to this new fence on course here. Didn't feature in round 1. And they're just tucking right inside there. Nicely done by Nigel. Then down to what was the first fence. You can see a good time from him as well. Quicker than that of Alfie's, 43.79. And jumps clear this time around for them to finish on the 4 faults. That's how it plays out at the moment. They lead the way with 2 gone. Remember those clears coming in. If they have a pole down, well, that could change it all around again. Julie Andrews and Ayrton looking for some pace here again. This is one that's been going very well internationally, building up well. Now, I think there's a little bit of space in there for those coming in. Just touches there, and you see they just go a little bit wider there, just edge out to give them space to get to this. It doesn't quite pay off, gets the back bar away, but swiftly turns away to this vertical, gets that one. They've got to give themselves room as they come round the corner to get to both. And then finally the last, and you can see she's a good time, 42.01. And it is 4 faults in this round, though. Takes her up to 8. So Nigel Kalp moves ahead with that clear in this round, 4 from the first. But it shows there's some space in there to try and beat our leading combination. That's just where the pole came, just over that big spread. Now, our 2 serious contenders of Mark Edwards and Tinker's Tail. The 2 starting off on a 0 score. Now, he's got to think about what's to come from Louise as well. Oh, it stays. Well, riding the luck there. As we've heard, an 8-year-old still gaining experience at this level. How much does he ask? Into this double. You can see they're just coming into there. They just have to move out slightly to find the line. Now, back quickly. Goes a touch wider than we've seen. In fact, goes round there, which we haven't seen from those before. The others have all cut inside. So again, he's going to be slower on the clock. Look, he's already into the 40s. 43.79 leading time, and jumps that, 46.21. And it is double clear from Mark Edwards. Is it enough, though? As we saw, went wider there, guaranteeing the clear. Has left the door open for Louise Saywell and Mr. Darcy. Now, we know the space in there, and she's a pretty quick combination. This is a big vertical now. Smartly turns away. Down into this double. Now, this next turn is a really crucial one. Shaw just touches. You can see drifts back out to find the line to this fence. Now, will she cut inside? This is where she can make it up. She goes round as well, but you can see keeping up a quicker pace than Mark Edwards. 46.21 to beat. She's got plenty in the bag here to try and beat him, and she has it over the last. 43.55. So double clear from her, and she finishes top for Louise Saywell and Mr. Darcy. And it is another win in the series for Louise. Both she and Graham, I'm sure, going to be delighted to that. And it looks an absolutely class combination. That's how it finishes up. Our two finishing with clears in both rounds. Louise Saywell, quicker on 43.55. Mark Edwards, 46.21. Nigel Cout picks up some valuable points in third.
Thank you, well done. Thank you, well done.
Well, nicely done round from Louise. Looking at class combination. 1 and 2 though, just touching the odd pole there. Gives it a rattle, but it stays.
Well, congratulations, Louise. Going last in that jump off, the pressure must have been on.
Pressure was on as long as I was clear. He's naturally fast, so I didn't want to go too fast and blow it because I know he'd naturally be faster anyway.
How much of an advantage is it knowing what time you've got to achieve? You saw Mark go, you knew you had there was a bit of time to give there.
Yeah, there was. It is a bonus to know what you've got to do, but I do sometimes like to go first and just get it done with. They've then got the pressure on them to beat it.
He's having a fantastic season, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been great. He's winning loads. Couldn't ask for more from him.
Well, Graham, I suppose that's a sort of bittersweet victory, but you must be pleased because you do own Mr. Darcy.
Yeah, absolutely. I said earlier in the programme that I hope he does really well. He's a great little horse. Great partnership with Louise, and yeah, she's my other half, so it's good.
Big celebrations then in your household, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll have to cook tonight, won't I?
You certainly will. Well done.
Cheers.
So it's been a fantastic afternoon here at the New Forest Hampshire Show, and Louise Saywell and Mr. Darcy continue their fabulous season, and they become the first combination to win 2 International Stairway classes this season. Now let's see what today's result does to the rest of the leaderboard. So Louise and Mr. Darcy, they're on 27 points. They leapfrog Graham Lovegrove and Alfie at the top of the leaderboard. Very close between those two. Nigel Cout finishing second today on Golvers Hill. They're on 24 points to lie in third. Tim Davis is in fourth. Rob Bevis and Tim Page pretty close behind there. So 2 more events remain. They'll go to Oxfordshire and then to the finale, which has been held at the Royal Berkshire County Show. I hope you've enjoyed today. See you then.